Welcome. This is Barbara. And we're happy to have you here with us today. A happy Easter to all of you. It's a cloudy, gray Michigan day, 40 degrees, but little flowers coming up, little reminders of rebirth. That's what we're here to remember today. Birth and rebirth. I'm not going to talk long, just to say hello and open the body to Yeshua so he can come in and speak. Yeshua will speak, then Colette will channel Mary Magdalene. Aaron will come in. We'll go back and forth a bit. Just 1 hour with these beautiful spirit friends. So I hope you are all having a beautiful Easter. There may be some people here who are not familiar with Deep Spring Center or me or our work. I met Aaron about 35 years ago. And we formed this organization, Deep Spring Center. And we've been going ever since. Deep Spring Center for Meditation and Spiritual Inquiry. If you're new to us, please Google us after. Go to the website, deepspring.org, and learn about what else we have to offer. And meanwhile, we welcome you here today. Aaron says our whole name is Deep Spring Center for Meditation and Spiritual Inquiry. And both of these are a core of what we do. Beloved ones, I am Yeshua. Thank you for being with me today to celebrate this day of remembering the light of the earth, enhancing the light of the earth, of this globe, filled with sentient beings who are essentially light. Today you remember a specific event. That the man I was, Yeshua, was crucified and knew how to keep the light that was his essence going. So he did not die, just as nothing ever dies. It only moves from one form to another. The flowers in your garden that grow from bulbs, they feed in this fall. They seem to die. And now you have the green shoots coming up. And soon the beautiful flowers again. Everything keeps going, just moving into a new teaching place, a new expression. I am not different from you. We are all expressions of the beloved. Each of you, a beautiful expression. I can only give a mundane example here. But we see that the waves are expressions of the ocean. They are not the whole ocean. But each wave is its own beautiful expression. Each sunbeam is an expression of the sun. Not the full sun, but not less than the sun in any way. You are the sunbeam. You're the waves. You're expressions of God, Goddess, beloved, unconditional. And you, with so much love and courage, at a time you do not remember, or most of you don't, made the decision to move into this heavy density realm, to wear these heavy density physical bodies, emotional, mental, energetic, and to express in these ways with as much light and love as possible. You understood before that first incarnation that along the way, it was not going to be what this instrument would call smooth sailing. There were going to be storms. Your boat was going to tip and the mast to break. It was going to be rough water along with the smooth sail. And that each time there was a storm, you had an option to move into anger and fear and frustration. It's not fair. Why is it storming on me? Or in my situation, why am I being crucified? Or you had the option to know, this is why I keep. Because here I have the opportunity to be in a challenging situation and return love to that catalyst instead of anger or hatred. In so doing, each time you do this, it expands the amount of love, the amount of light on this planet you call Earth. Aaron will tell you a bit about Earth history in a few minutes. That's not my portion today. Mine is just to remind you that, like me, you're here for a reason. Like me, you have all the support that you need to go through the myriad smaller crucifixions. None of you nailed to a cross. But yes, your house may burn down. You may have an illness that is painful. You will lose loved ones. Everybody loses loved ones. You will feel frustration, helplessness. Are you going to walk with me, yet bringing a light into this world? Rebirthing it moment by moment into the radiance that you are, the expression of the beloved that you are, and grounding that light into the earth. I've been asked how I allowed myself to follow through and walk into the circumstance of the crucifixion. I hope there was an option that it would not have to happen. And yet I understood that my purpose was not just to keep walking the earth as Yeshua as I had, but to remember and shine forth the radiance that I am. To remind you of that radiance, of that love. That love never dies. We are all that love. And the earth today, with its environmental problems, challenges, needs that love. Your world, with its wars, prejudice, and hatred, needs that love. It makes me so joyful to see you willing to walk this with me, to go through the myriad crucifixion initiations of your lives and resurrect yourself, knowing I am a light, I am a love, and shall always be that. Love. I'm going to pass this on now to Colette and Mary, and I will be back. I am Yeshua.
My beloved ones, I am Mary. How beautiful you all are. I wish you could see from our perspective how radiant, how brilliant, how colorful, how expansive you are. And that this energy that you perceive as just belonging to yourself is not separate from anything. You're just beingness, just as you are. Irradiates the field of potentiation, as Yeshua often talks about. You are here for a purpose. You came willingly, although I know Colette often says she'd like to tear up the contract because, as Yeshua said, life is very difficult. And yet here you are. And sometimes the human thinks, well, I'm not doing things right if things go wrong. Like if I am perfectly co-creating and manifesting, nothing should ever go wrong. Well, putting aside the larger aspect of co-creation, there are times when the highest aspect of yourself creates an initiation for you. You may not know what that is until it unfolds, but each initiation, each crucifixion initiation, is not a death. In the ultimate terms, there is no death, but it is transformation. It is opening into a greater reality, a greater expansiveness that you can move into. And the crucifixion, the initiation, moves you into that place. At some time in the future, we may go more in depth on this topic. But as we were preparing for our discussion today with Colette and Barbara and others of us who spoke, it was brought up to share with you how in the crucifixion, Yeshua and I anchored that love light. You have heard us speaking of this before, but I would like to share a part of this again with you to understand that in anchoring love light, you do not have to be inhuman in a sense where you feel no fear, where you feel no sorrow, you feel no pain, you feel no grief. As Yeshua said, we knew the potential for the crucifixion was there. We could have decided to walk another path, but we stayed with that. And even though Yeshua's body was in pain, was quivering, he was bleeding, he was sweating, he was trembling, and I standing there at the base of the cross, seeing it all, feeling it all, my heart broken with grief and feeling rage that this would happen. These are our human experiences. But as we had agreed together, even though his body was in pain and I was in grief and sorrow, we chose not to bypass the human experience. Although beings can come into the earth and offer much wisdom and beauty, there is something different when you come in to share what is possible in the earth, what the pain, the suffering, what you call death. And so in that moment, despite what the onlookers would have seen about my tears and my grief and Yeshua's tremendous physical suffering, there was a column of light that came straight from source, if you will, spiraled through all of us and into the earth. And we both expanded our own love into the creation, and then we've anchored it into the earth. To do that, you can do that just as you walk about your daily life with intention. When you're not thinking about it, you're always bringing something through. But even in grief and sorrow and what you call death and initiation, you can embody it and you can transcend it. Not in that you do not experience it, but you take all of that and you offer it for the good of all beings. This is all I will say right now. This is such an expansive topic, but I wish to pass this on to whoever wishes to speak next. I am Mary. My love to you, my friends.
Thank you, Mary. I am Aaron. So I come cast to the role of teacher, bringing the lesson for the service. The remembrance. Everything in the mundane realm has the nature to arise when the conditions are present and when the conditions cease to pass away. So many beings came together to help co-create this heavy density planet. Manifest of the heavy elements, and thus impermanent, subject to change. And once the planet itself was settled, the bringing in gradually of first and second density sentient beings, versus the very microscopic ones, watching the co-creators of Earth, those who imagined the Earth, let us call them the imaginers, watching carefully to see if beings could successfully work with not just knowing themselves as a light, being connected into that eternal light, but feeling the illusion of separation. Could they maintain the connection with the light while still being caught in the illusion of separation? And we found yes. The lower density beings, not so much, but they're not so much conscious of a separate self. But as the third density beings came in, there was a clarity. It was possible for such a being to know itself as unique, a unique weave or rainbow, a unique expression, and yet still connected. It was possible to experience fear and other emotions that push one toward service to self, and to say, no, I shall not walk that path. Instead, I will have compassion for the human, that when pushed to the wall, wants to push back. When accused, wants to accuse back. I will learn compassion. And this is the learning of third density you. In order for this compassion to be strong, the whole earth needs to hold a ground for the compassion. For that ground to be able to sustain what grows from it, there needs to be high energy poured into it. The whole earth vibrating with a higher energy, filled with light. You all know how it feels to walk into a room where there is a great deal of anger. People afraid, people yelling, people ready to hit each other. Or worse. A great deal of fear in the room. And all it takes is one person to stand up and say, I love you. And I will not become caught in this web of accusations and hatred. And you can feel the love of their energy more and more. And if you are tilting in that inclination, you can ground yourself in that love and say, yes, I'm with you. I also will not become caught in hatred. Earth 2,000 years ago was getting to that point where it was spinning into increasing darkness. And there was such a need for one to come forth and say, I will not live in hatred. To remind us not only that he was love, but that we were love. I had the great blessing to know him as a friend, to have walked many times in the power of his love that helped me to heal from sometimes overwhelming, painful situations. To remind me, I have chosen to be human. And to be human does not necessarily mean to move into negativity and fear and become enmeshed in such emotion, but to remember the light. I saw him on that cross. It was perhaps the hardest moment of that lifetime for me. I wished I could have taken his place, but of course I could not have done what he did. In that lifetime, the man in Nathaniel that I was. All I could do was love him and deepen in my intention to carry forth his message, which is so simple and so difficult. Love one another as he has loved us, as we have loved each other, because we do know how to love. And carry that possibility of love forth in the world. Love for one another. Each of you who came into incarnation once or 1,000 times, as first density, second density, third density, you knew it was going to be challenging. There is always free will. Every being begins as that expression, that wave that is still not formed into a wave, but is the potential of the wave. It's just the ocean. Is not yet a sunbeam, is still the sun. Where is that moment of intention? I choose to move forth, knowing it's going to challenge. And why you so choose. For me, Yeshua constantly, his life is Yeshua and his essence now, reminds me of who we truly are. I no longer human, but having been human, all of you still you. And yet you cease to be human, and then you come back again as human, again and again. I choose to come forth to become an ever purer, higher, more radiant expression of love, and to ground that love into the earth. A bit more esoteric, but the earth is being watched by millions to see if a heavy density planet with sentient beings that are not just spirit, but are made of heavy material elements, earth, air, fire, water. If such a being can move past the heaviness of its earth element, of its water element, and so forth, and can express more fully the light that it is, not stuck in the heaviness, but expressing light and love. Today on Easter, I look to Yeshua and how we move through this true crucifixion initiation. Yes, with great dream, but you've all have dreamed, and none of you are being nailed to a cross. And yet, many of you may be struggling with painful things in your lives, physical, emotional, mental, environmental. You have chosen to walk in the footsteps of beloved Yeshua, and to say along with him, yes, I choose to be the highest expression of love that I can be, and to forgive yourself when you fall short, for that's also essential to the teachings. Gentleness, loving kindness. Yes, I choose. Yes, I will. I can do it. I am doing it. Yes. Many of you have heard me talk about my final human lifetime and my full awakening, pinned to the earth under a heavy thorn tree. The thorns just barely touching my body, but I could not move. Rain pouring down and mud under me, and a tiger snarling at my feet, wanting to eat me if he could get past the thorns. Here I have his example. The only path through is love. And that is what we are here to celebrate today. That the essence of all is love. And every opening of that love that comes through you and into the world is a blessing to all. Like my friends, of course, I could say more, but perhaps this is sufficient for now. I'm going to pass this to Colette and whoever will next speak, and we'll keep this dialogue going a bit.
This is Colette. Yeshua will speak. My friends, I am Yeshua. You are my friends, but I also greet you as the Christ. For as you have heard me say, each one of you are the Christ. Within your own life, your own environment, within that realm, you may walk as the Christ if you choose, if that is your intention. And we've spoken of the crucifixion, of that initiation. After the crucifixion is the resurrection. The initiation is such that you come to a closed door, but you have prepared yourself, and with intention you open the door and you walk through. It's as if walking through a portal into a new reality, but those portals never end. You keep coming up to an initiation for which you are ready. You pass through that initiation, that crucifixion, that death, and you walk through a new portal. This is how it is. And so I encourage you to think that, or perhaps to reframe your thinking. If I know many think, oh, this being human is hard, which it is, and being human is less than being on some other realm, especially if it's higher density. And that this is just a chore. It's just a phase that you need to get through and get off this planet as fast as you can. Well, having been human, I honor and understand that. There were times I thought, I'm not sure why I chose this, and I knew I could go, just as any of you can go if you choose, but what kept me here? What keeps you here? And I would suspect it is love. Even if there is confusion, despair, anger, frustration, many challenges. The earth is a place of learning. There are many challenges. But those challenges, as you meet them, touches your heart, and your heart speaks to you, and it invites you to move through whatever you are facing. If it is your own transition or the transitions of those you love, as far as what you call death, if it is great financial stressors, ill health, relationships that don't work, children or relatives with disabilities or mental illness or addiction, whatever it is you face, know that a greater aspect of you agreed to this catalyst to break your heart wide open in love for yourself and compassion for yourself and compassion for the earth and all beings. And when I say all beings, I'm talking from the tiniest little microbe or atom that you cannot see to the greatest mountains, to the earth herself. There is no separation. And as you take your steps through your day, washing the dishes, brushing your teeth, paying the bill, cleaning the kitty litter, dealing with a difficult person or situation, there's no necessity to say, I throw it all away. I just don't want to deal with it. Well, you can, but you can also say, all right, this is what is present. Every moment is new. Every moment is real. Every moment is full of all potentials. Every moment is your place of choice. And as you set your intention for your day, as you go about your day, let's say most of the time beings go about on automatic till something really grabs their attention. But let us say there's a conflict in a relationship. Breathe, center yourself, remember who you are. Remember there is no duality. There is only one being, and then bring as much love and wisdom as you can. This may not change the situation. Everyone else has free will as well. But you continue to come into your Christ consciousness. You continue to offer everything to the world, your grief, your love, your anger, your joy, your bliss. They are not separate. And sometimes we may talk more about that as well. But I encourage you to reframe your ideas of what you are doing here, to open into hope for the world and all upon it, to see what is here, but to imagine and co-create what is possible. You are the, how shall I say, you are here on the ground on this planet to help it evolve and move into what its original intention was. And although there's much grief and fear, I think just the wars that are going on, acknowledge that. Pray, cry, open your heart, do what you can, but then take your full intention into envisioning this awakened fourth density earth. every creation, in every density, there's always catalyst. Third density is hard, but the earth is quivering with readiness to be born. Each being upon it is quivering with readiness to be born into fourth density. Let yourselves be part of that. Lead that for the earth. Offer your life in whichever way you choose and keep the hope alive and the vision alive. For this too will pass on the earth. What will come next? All of you are part of that choice of what comes next. So remember who you are. To be human is glorious and difficult, but it is not less than any other type of creation in the multiverse. Honor yourselves and your experience and your courage, and offer your love in whichever way you choose. My love to you. I am Yeshua. I will pass this conversation on.
I'm Mary. Thank you, Yeshua. I hope you will stay there so we can dialogue a bit.
Yes, I am present.
I'm Yeshua. I'm supposed to be powerful, but I cannot move spotlighted to people on my screen. I'm Mary. You are Yeshua. We're so much one, huh? Carrying both energies here in Barbara's body, but now Mary's voice speaking. I knew what was coming. I don't know which crucifixion was harder, yours on the cross or ours who loved you so much and had to watch your pain and your courage and be unable physically to help you except by holding love and energy for you. And I knew that did help. So as the human, Mary, I felt such sorrow. I felt anger. And I knew that these were detrimental to what you were doing there on the cross, and that I had to help myself move past. I could not shrink into this anger. I could not push this anger out. How is anger transmuted into love? So I looked at you, trembling, sweating, tears on your face, shaking, in so much pain. And I loved you. I so deeply appreciated your courage and all that you had taught us. I knew how much you loved me, not me personally, you know that, but how much you loved all of us. I knew how hard your path had been, perhaps me more than most of you. Of that time. And your crucifixion was not much different, except an outer form than mine, and your resurrection not much different. Because you came back into the light. And as I worked with the grief and rage and released those into the heart of love, as we had taught each other, and open to the radiance of divine consciousness, which is the essence of what we are. I really forever lost the limitedness of the physical woman Mary. I awakened and really knew who I was. And from that state of my deeper presence and love, I was able to energetically offer support back to you. So that your body that was so badly damaged, your whole being could restore itself. Again, I can only think of For example, the lilies growing in their own bulbs in the dark around, and then warmed by the sun and open into such radiance. Your living radiance is with us today, and I knew you would say, beloved, that it is no different than our radiance, and I understand that. And yet I honor you for being able to walk this path. And thank you. I love you. I will release the body, pass it back to Yeshua or to whoever is coming into Colette's body. I am married.
And I am Yeshua. I did not leave the body. As Mary spoke, her ability to offer that love as I was still in the crucifixion process was greatly powerful. Mary and many other beings, many in the Essene community, had worked for years to be able to, if you will, in your modern terms, hold the space for the crucifixion. And many of you have heard me say that that's the body that I expressed as Yeshua did not completely die. I had learned many trainings to extend the body, but in the great suffering of the crucifixion was not just physical suffering, because in an energetic manner, I took the grief and the pain of the world and moved it through myself as a channel for transformation. A physical body cannot actually hold that kind of energy all by itself. Many's held that energy with me. And then as that body, which for all intents and purposes looked dead to everyone there because its processes that kept it alive had been so stilled, there was no evidence of it. But within the tomb, there were many holding space, not just where I was placed, but in other places that were, if you would think of, arranged according to principles of what you may call sacred geometry. And so all of that allowed for what you call the resurrection. But it was not just I, Yeshua, as an individual being that resurrected or did it by myself. It was the community of those who came together to hold this whole death, initiation, resurrection with great love and power so that it could be. And you each now, I keep bringing everything back to you now, but this is what really it was all for. For those of you that hear, that wish to serve as the Christ, Bodhisattva, Christ Magdalene, whatever term you use that's meaningful to you, you can be that Christ. And no one can do it alone. Some of you may have friends or partners who share this worldview, this desire. Some may not and may only find it in communities such as this. But I encourage you to reach out, not only to physical beings, but to your guides. You are surrounded by beings that love you, that are walking through this incarnation with you. You may not be aware of them. Sometimes you may catch glimpses or have intuitions or have memories of a dream time. I invite you to explore your greater essence, to explore your greater spiritual community, not only in the human form, but in spirit form. Because no one does this alone. And this is hard work. So I will pass this on, but I pass this on by saying to you, my beloved Christs, remember who you are. Christ Magdalenes, God Goddess, Priest Priestess. You are that. My love to Yeshua. I will stay in the body for the moment.
Thank you, my friend Yeshua. And so we come full circle. The Christmas stories, the Easter stories, the simple stories of sitting by the fire together. The memories of the times that you helped me so much more deeply to understand through your being, through the power of light within, to find that light within myself and remember, yes, I am also the awakened one. And I had not yet opened to that full awakening. But for everyone listening to me today, the seed is there. And if the seed is there, then you are already the awakened one. You just have not yet realized. And so we walk this path together. We walk it with as much love, courage, faith, and joy as is possible. And we're still present with the anger and the fear and the lack of faith. Those come because we are human. You are not trying to transcend being human. Humanness is essential to your present work. If it was not, then there would be no need for anyone to incarnate. You have understood at some level that you needed to be human to do the work. And out of a magnificent love, you have come into incarnation. Before the incarnation, knowing it, this is going to be hard. I'm not sure I want this. But yes, this will be my crucifixion initiation to come into a new human lifetime with all of the trials and challenges and bring a love to it. This will be my expression of the awakening, my resurrection. And each of you are doing that with a great deal of, certainly I cannot say ease, it's challenge. I cannot say joy because sometimes it's very sorrowful. A great deal of heartfelt commitment that takes a deep knowing of why you are here. And I hope through your times with Deep Spring Center talks and classes and so forth, it's helping to give you a better ground to rest on, to know why you are here. So that each time you meet that crucifixion, you're better able to say, of course, if I'm human, I must expect this. I will greet it with love and greet the human who resists it and doesn't want it with compassion. I keep coming back to this theme of compassion. Some people have gotten the misunderstanding that your work here as human is to learn wisdom. And certainly wisdom is welcome. But wisdom is a fourth density. The essence of third density learning is compassion. And I think if we can all think of our beloved friend Yeshua, hanging there on the cross in human form with pain, it's easy to find a heart of compassion. If it were you there on the cross, you might have blamed yourself and said, I shouldn't mind this. Well, how could you not mind it? It's painful. This is a beating for the human to have nails driven through their heads. It's painful. Thorns, painful. Shoulder joints being pulled out, shoulders being pulled out of joint, painful. And how about compassion for those who crucified? Those who simply did not yet understand, and are bound by their limited understanding, bound by the limits of their fear that had driven them into bias and hatred. They acted at that limit. Compassion. Compassion for the wolf who catches the bird and tears it apart to feed her young. Compassion for the animal who digs up the bulbs in your garden and eats them. And then there's anger. My tulips aren't growing. The squirrels have gotten all the bulbs. This is the way the world is. The heavy density form must survive. And younger beings have not yet moved into the readiness to do no harm. And also, we would ask, is it harm? The asparagus coming up out of the garden. If you eat them, is it harm? The berries on the vine, if you eat them, is it harm? Heavy density needs food, at least in this stage of your development. You're not ready yet to survive just on air. One can learn to eat without hatred for what is eaten, but blessing. What was given to us 2,000 years ago was the fear and hatred of those who condemned Yeshua and nailed him to the cross. Perhaps they were essential to the whole process. In that, had he not been nailed to that cross, we would not have experienced the Thomas deepened us in compassion. And he did not do this against his will, but with his free will blessing, willing to walk this path. If it were just to bring a light and love into the world. Around you, we see those of Gaza being figuratively crucified, and those of Israel, those of Ukraine, Russia, Somaliland, elsewhere in the world. People being killed by others who do not yet understand. It is the power of our love, of our compassion, that can say no from a place of compassion, not a place of hatred. I love you, but you may not further destroy. You may not kill. And you say it with loving energy, but without hatred of those who are doing it. This is the light that he died and arose again to teach us, that he is still offering in his resurrected state, that he came here to this earth, and Mary and others, to plant these seeds of light and love into the earth, that the earth may transform itself into a ground of such high vibration that everything negative simply says, not here, I'm getting out of it. It's too high a vibration. Can't stand it. Come on. This earth thusly transformed, expressing its true potential to be a beacon in the multiverse, showing that heavy density can sustain a high vibration. That it's not a choice just of being in a spirit form with no heavy body and being loving, or being in a heavy body and not being loving. But that the heavy body, these cells of your body, they're capable of such high vibration and love. Love. Perhaps you can feel some of that loving energy coming through my hands, and my eyes, and my presence. Love. This is your potential. This is the gift for which I thank Yeshua today. Amen. I see it's 5 o'clock. I will not close this, but leave it open in case Yeshua or Mary want to say goodbye. Amen.
This is Colette. Both Yeshua and Mary will speak briefly. My beloved ones, I am Yeshua. I have been simmering in the body. All I want to say to you is to embrace your existence as human, to know it's not a mistake, that you have great learning, but you have great love, and that you are essential to this transition. Honor yourself for your courage. Treat yourself with kindness and compassion, and offer the same to all other beings, even if you need to set boundaries or say no or make choices not to engage. But do everything with an open heart, with a heart of love, of compassion, of knowing your oneness with all beings. So I leave you with this. I am so glad you joined us today. I will slip out of the body and allow Mary to say goodbye to you. My love to you, I'm Yeshua. Dear ones, I am Mary. What a beautiful day it has been to hang out with you, as the human says, feel your energies, share this wonderful time. Hold it in your heart. Bring to memory not only this time today, but all the other beautiful things that you have had in your life when things are difficult. In every death, large or small, resurrect yourself. Come into that resurrection and that new fullness. Continue to walk through each portal as you are ready. There is no end to love, no end to beingness. Just change. My love to you, I am Mary. Remember who you are. I will release the body.
I am Yeshua, and would come in at this one last time, not with words, but just to join me energetically. Let us feel ourselves all bonded together as one body of love. Feel my presence with you always. Feel love's presence with you always. May all blessings come to you. In the name of love. And may you evermore remember how to manifest and carry that love. I love you. I am Yeshua. Thank you. This is Barbara, and thank you for joining us today. It just felt as we planned this a month or two ago that we needed to come together at Easter for whatever reason, and I'm glad we did. It's been a joy to be with you.
This is Colette. Thank you, everyone, for
Thank
sharing
you.
this beautiful day.
Very much appreciated. Ruth, thank you.
Thank you, Ruth.
Happy Easter. Colette, hug to you.
Hug to you too, my dear friend. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, spirit friends.